Thank you very much, Nanda. And I want to say that we are missing you very much on campus, and we hope that your stay away from us will be temporary. Having said that, I want to say that I congratulate the Indic Forum for this particular initiative because, as Taniguchi-san has very correctly said, that the relationship between Bharat and Nippon is extremely important. India, in a sense, it led the way where Western colonialism was concerned. And when it was almost looking impossible to get free of Western colonialism in India, the people of India, including significant sections of the armed forces, that should not be a forgotten chapter in our history. And I'm happy that under this dispensation, Subhash Chandra Bose has been given the recognition he merits. Uh, Basically, the entire, if I may say so, the entire strength of Western colonialism was affected by India becoming free. And from that time onwards, there's been a change in geopolitics. As far as Japan is concerned, for a long time, there was a kind of an inferiority complex where Nippon and Bharat were concerned. I apologize to Taniguchi-san for having used the term India and Japan. Uh, so let me go back to Nippon and Bharat. But Nippon showed, the Nippongo people showed that Japan could do it and Asia could do it. And today we have got 3 out of the top 5 economies in the world are Asian. 3 of the top 5. Japan, China, India. They're all 3 Asian. And possibly you will have 4 of the top 5 becoming Asian in the future. The rise of Indonesia is now, going to be, I think, a significant aspect of the future. What I want to say about Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Abe is that both believed in their own countries. Modi believed in Bharat and Abe believed in Nippon and in the Nipponese, Nippongo people and in the Bharatiya, the people of Bharat. They had a very strong belief and they came from the people. And that was a very important point because this, as Taniguchi-san has so correctly said, a kind of an inferiority complex which immediately weakens your will and your resolve. And if your resolve and your will are weakened, then mountain climbers will tell you, those who try and accomplish difficult tasks will tell you, it becomes impossible to achieve that task. You have to have determination. You have to have self-belief. And what is so special about Abe-san, what is so special about Narendra Modi, both have an immense sense of belief in the country, a belief that the country is special, and in the future of the country and the future of the people. And I think it is this that led them to form a very, very close relationship. The second point is, I think it was, again, Taniguchi-san, and I must say that I was really, listening transfixed to his words. And he talked about a compass. You're quite right. A compass will show you the direction. If it shows you the right direction, you may have artificially created compasses. And we all know that there are countries that are trying to ensure that our compasses go wrong and point south where it should be pointing north. And what is happening in sections of the polity in India, what is happening in sections of polity in Japan. Again, I apologize, Taniguchi-san, for having used those words. I've used them all my life, so it's very difficult to change immediately. But I hope in a few months, if not 6 months or a year, I will completely, change and make it Bharat and Nippon. But having said that, the point about Abe-san, the point about Narendra Modi, they had the compasses that pointed due north. They knew what north was, south was, east was, west was, and they followed their moral compass. They followed their ethical compass. They followed their geopolitical compass, and that led them towards the close friendship that Abe-san had with Prime Minister Modi. A friendship that is beyond just human relations, a friendship that is beyond emotion, a friendship that is based on an understanding that the humanity and the human race cannot afford an era in which you have rampant authoritarianism, exclusivism, and a world in which once again you have a unipolarity in which, as frequently pointed out, a vertical world order in which those at the top crush those at the bottom, but a horizontal world order. And this horizontal world is what Prime Minister Modi believes in and what Abe-san believed in. And at a time when India was seen in Japan by many Japanese people as just another very poor country, a country with a very low per capita income, which indeed we are, if I may say so, as compared to Japan. But the reality is that there is something special in India. There is something special in Japan, special in the Indian people and the Japanese people. And perhaps, the Kimi Gayo, I mean, the beautiful Japanese national anthem. Incidentally, I have listened to it not once, but several times. It has inspired me a lot, if I may say so. And I mean, 8,000 years we have that shared heritage as brothers and sisters in a civilizational context, that civilizational connect of 8,000 years, and therefore I'm not as pessimistic, if I may say so, as some of my friends have been about our futures, the future of Nippon and the future of Bharat. Well, my goodness, I got it right. Amazing. Uh, look, look around us. One thing I can tell you, you know, I mean, one thing I can tell you, to my learned Japanese friend, you can bet that China will ensure that the danger is realized. Way back in the 1930s, the real geopolitical center was Europe. There was a European country that sought to change history and that sought to dominate the world. And there were people in all the other countries that basically were very indulgent towards this country. Throughout the 1930s, they tolerated this country. They could have stopped it earlier. They did not stop it earlier. As a consequence, a large number of lives were lost. But finally, they woke up to the reality. Why? Because the true nature of that spirit of domination, the spirit of exclusivism, the spirit if I may say so, of superiority that drove that particular leadership, and therefore, with that leadership, the people of that country forward, was against the ethos of humanity. And we in the world, we share 8 billion of us, just one earth, and we need a common humanity, which is why, for example, Narendra Modi has been constantly talking of the earth is one family, of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Well, yes, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, but for that there is a precondition. Those who are part of the Vasudeva Kutumbakam network or potentially part of it have to have a mindset that accepts that the earth is one family, and not a mindset that believes you must crush, you must destroy, you must dominate. And I can assure you, Taniguchi-san, that what we are seeing in the world today is the overt manifestation of that. And I can assure you, in my country, there are individuals who still dream about, frankly, ignoring reality. In your country, the same thing is happening, but reality, like the 800-pound gorilla that one of our most distinguished parliamentarians and one of our, if I may say so, most eminent politicians. I generally don't like politicians as a group, but I've always had the highest regard and respect for Bajayant, because of his human qualities, the spirit of humanity, the spirit of service that he embodies. But I'd like to say that, believe me, the people of Nippon, the people of Bharat, they are understanding the menace that is facing them. And today, I can assure you, they are appreciating the logic of Abe-san and Modi coming together and getting the Quad organized. I do not believe the Quad is going to fade away. You may have individuals, and I have, if you read my writings, you will find that I have frequently written some very good things, but some negative things also. For example, about Blinken and Sullivan, that Blinken and Sullivan believe they are Europeans who have somehow landed on the wrong side of the Atlantic. There are many people in the United States who believe they are Europeans and have landed on the wrong side of the Atlantic, forgetting that this is an era in which the Indo Pacific is the new geopolitical center of gravity. You can say Asia Pacific. Canadians, for example, even today, under the current government in Canada, they prefer to use the term Asia Pacific. You have some people in Japan who are talking various other things. But the reality is, it is the Indo Pacific that is basically the geopolitical center of gravity, and people are going to gravitate to that. The gravitational pull of reality, I can tell you, will bring all of us together in a way that is designed to protect humanity. I hope and I pray that this alliance that is forming will avoid what we saw in Europe during the 1930s and the 1940s, an inevitable global conflict. Because if this does not happen, an inevitable global conflict is going to happen. Why I say that I am optimistic? Look at the Philippines. Look at Ferdinand. Look at Bongbong Marcos. Look at the way he is finally challenging China. Much more powerful countries have refused to do so. As a consequence, the South China Sea has become a PLA-controlled lake. Look at the way ASEAN is now standing up to China. Malaysia, there was a lot of talk that some of the politicians who were elected were basically, funded by China, friendly to China. They have stood up. Malaysia has stood up. Indonesia has stood up. Vietnam has stood up. The Philippines is standing up tall. And believe me, this is happening because India, Japan, the United States, three countries in particular are coming closer together. India, that is Bharat, Nippon, and the United States, are inevitably coming together. Taniguchi-san, in the Second World War, the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin, the United Kingdom under Winston Churchill, and the United States of America under Franklin Roosevelt formed a coalition that ensured the complete destruction of the Nazi armies and the ending, the extinguishing of the evil lamp of Nazi philosophy, doctrine, and the monster who created it, Adolf Hitler. These three very dissimilar people running very dissimilar countries came together. If they could do it, and yes, Taniguchi-san, they did it 10 years later than they should have. We should not make the mistake of doing it 10 years later than what we should have. I think we are now into that era of the clock where every hour, every minute that passes is reminiscent of the 1930s in Europe. The sooner we act, the better. But having seen the unity in ASEAN, having seen them standing up, having seen in Canada, Justin Trudeau himself having to admit that India is an important partner, and having seen the crashing of his illusion that just because he comes from a particular ethnic group that floated on the other side of the Atlantic, other members of that ethnic group throughout the world will stand up and stand with him. It's a doctrine which, frankly, is a doctrine which is followed by the country that you have named very often in your talk. I am going to be a little more diplomatic. I'm not going to name that country, but we all know that country. And the ruling party of that country is motivated by a perception of superiority of a particular people. of a particular civilizational and ethnic kind of people. And any feeling of exclusive superiority is wrong in a world where 8 million of us share a common humanity and we share a common earth, as Prime Minister Modi has repeated. I would again like to say time is running out. We are now in the 1930s where this era is concerned. We are now in 2020s, but we're actually in the 1930s. And we should not be in 2030 a situation that the world was in 1940. In that, Nippon and Bharat are very, very important. And yes, there was frankly, to my mind, it's extremely mysterious the way Abe-san met his end. We have had mysterious deaths. Mr. Trotsky died in a very mysterious way. Sirhan killed, Lee Harvey Oswald in a very mysterious way. And silence forever. What happened to John F. Kennedy, who, by the way, wanted to withdraw American troops from Vietnam? We don't know. Mysterious people come and do strange things. And a mysterious person came and did strange things and took away Abe-san. But let me tell you, the philosophy of Abe-san is rooted in the welfare and well-being of humanity. The strength of character and determination of Abe-san comes from the strength and character and determination of the Nippongo people. Just as the strength and character of Narendra Modi comes from the strength and character of the Bharatiya people. Believe me, Taniguchi-san, we will endure, we will succeed, and we will win this new conflict, what I call Cold War 2.0. Some years ago, my colleague Nanda Kishore will know about that. And my latest book, by the way, is called Cold War 2.0. It's been published by Penguin, and it is there now. It was released last month in September. But I would like to say, I am optimistic that this time around, the natural partners against this expansionist, exclusivist power. And again, I would like to add, I do not blame the Chinese people. I do not blame the great Chinese culture and civilization. I blame the Chinese Communist Party, which from 1921 had this effort to basically try and be this, dominate first Asia and then the world. They want to begin with the Indo-Pacific and then move on to the Atlantic. They want to begin in Eurasia, move on to Europe, and then to North America. But believe me, I can tell you, the clock is ticking, yes. But you had people in the 1930s who recognized that danger in Europe, in North America. And you have people in Asia who recognize that danger. And I'm proud to acknowledge, Taniguchi-san, that you are among them. And I can assure you, you are not alone. And from my experience, I belong to the older generation. My experience, it is the young people who appreciate the logic and the thinking that we say. It is the young who come forward and ask us, like, for example, the organizers of the Indic Forum, because it is their world that is in danger, their world that is being challenged by the intending hegemon. I want to end by saying India opposed a unipolar world order in the 50s, correctly, in the 1960s, correctly. We oppose a unipolar world order in this century. We strongly, totally oppose it in the 21st century. And may I say, the example of Abe-san, and may I say, the leadership of individuals such as Narendra Modi in India and the other leaders, Biden, for example, he has done a lot actually to confront China, although there was a fear that he would not. Even the current leadership of Japan, Mr. Kishida, there was a fear, including in my own circles, that he was too pro-China. But I can assure you, the Nippongo spirit, the spirit of humanism, what the Germans call the Zeitgeist, the spirit of the times, will ensure that they follow north as north, and they will not allow any malign actor to play any more with their compasses. Having said this, I again want to express my thanks to the foundation. I want to thank the most distinguished participants who are listening here. And above all, I would like to thank our chairperson, Nanda. I mean, as I said, I was not very happy when he decided to go to Pondicherry, but the good news is at least we are still keeping in contact. Jai Hind, Jai Nippon, Jai Bharat.